Okay, hello everyone who listen it right now and who will listen it in the recording. Uh, Welcome to the Enterprise System Development course. This course will about an enterprise system implementation, about enterprise business processes, and about description of these business processes with instruments such UML diagrams or some another specific instruments. So first of all, I want to tell about some organizational questions. About lections will be made by me, j-avdeev, and laboratory works will be made by Anastasia Menshikova. Here is contacts. It's available on the course page on the GitHub. On the same page you can see some description of the course, some references on some books and materials. During the course maybe some textbooks will be added to this list, so probably it will be modified. Also, you can see how many assignments we will have in this course and how the marks are depend on these assignments. Result table is still old, so I will update this table in the nearest time. Also, for every assignment, you can see previous assignments. The quality of these assignments not the best, but you can use this for your work. And as on previous my courses, on this course the total mark will be made based on your assignment activity. So if you will pass all assignments in the time, you will get the highest mark. So let's start. Today the first lection, and it about some terms, some description, some basic terms of the enterprise system development. So first of all, what is enterprise application? Enterprise application is some set of software or a bunch of software which used for enterprise needs. Usually every big or small enterprise have one, and mostly it's one general business process. Also, of course, enterprise usually have lots of helpful like sub processes which help to provide of work of the main business process. And lots of application can reduce expenses of this business process and help to grow income of our enterprise. Also, I want to talk about which actors work in this situation, in this process. Usually, here is not all the actors, and just some of them which I want you to focus on. And here is situation when we have company, enterprise, we have some actors of enterprise company. Also, I don't know, maybe some of you are familiar with UML description. Here is example of use case diagram. We will talk about these diagrams in the future, but here is one of the way how to describe which actors we have and which activity they are doing in this case. So we have company owner, and his main activity is to increase company business process and reduce expenses. Of course, he can have lots of different uh, activities, but in our situation, his main activity to increase income and reduce expenses of all company business process. So if we sell helicopters, his main goal is to increase the income. He can sell expensive helicopters. He can sell cheap helicopters, but lots of them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He have to provide high income and reduce expenses. Also, we have some. It can be also it can be not just one human. It can be maybe like a team, a group of people. It doesn't matter for us in this case. Also, we have business process manager. He is work with business process execution. So usually he's under the company owner. They are work together, but his actions about to provide stable business process execution. So company owner ask him, so how much money how much resources you need to provide this product to this time, and he told him we have business process, we have plan, and if business process manager able to provide his um, his plans in the planning in the scheduled dates, so this is successful situation for him. 1 minute. I will add. So company owner, business process manager. Also, we have third part. Probably this part about actually automation part about people who automate the business processes in the enterprise. They, in our case, of course, it's about some information technology instruments, and they have to reduce business process expenses. So to provide this, they of course have to understand business process inputs and outputs, and usually the reduction of expenses made by reduction of manual labor. So if we have some actions which made manually by hands, we can automate it, so it will make automatically. Sometimes we can change some business process. So automation manager have to work together with business process manager lots of time to understand and to refine some business processes. So sometimes maybe the problem in business process, and we during automation have to change business process, but automation manager cannot change business process without agreement of business process manager, because uh, he is about automation and he is about business process. And also, what is the biggest problem in this described situation? This because usually and in current time it's very usual that already exist some some finished solutions of enterprise software automation. I will talk about some examples and some some different types and between them. So business process automation manager, he's not making some solutions from the zero. He uses some ready instruments, some some instruments which have to be customized, have to be implemented in the enterprise, but not not made from scratch. And what the problem? The problem is because some providers of this software, they are not interested or not interested too much in company um, expenses reduction. They more interested to sell lots of their software. So and this is kind of different goals of the company. So okay, I have one more slide. Maybe it will help to understand. We have here is kind of solution of this problem. So we have some side of automation. So we have side of the solution developers, which have to sell as much as possible their solution to this company. Of course, they develop solutions, they understand some general parts of business processes, and they think about expenses reduction, but uh, the main goal of these people is to sell as much as possible of their software. And from the enterprise side, they to solve this problem, they made specialists called on-site. So this is part is off-site, this is on-site business automation managers, which understand in the details business processes of this enterprise, and they are understand how to reduce costs, how to reduce expenses with these solutions. So this is uh, kind of how to solve this problem. Also, which is the reason of this problem is that from the because enterprise usually doesn't have specialists which understand in the all details of solution which provide the third company. And of course, how they can understand, because this product is very significant, very difficult to understand. They have lots of documentation we describe, and these company specialists usually have no time to understand, to how to read all of these topics, and we got a problem, which one side understand product, but they're not interested in this quality of implementation, and we have other side which is interested in good implementation, but not understand the product. Also, the product is usually under the changing, so today have one functions, tomorrow it have some additional. So this is kind of problem which is very common for this situation. And to maybe better understand some kind of this problem, I usually show some example which made by Maxim Dorofeev. You can also see it in the original by this link. He talk a lot about some kind of topics and some preface. We have situation when some Mm, Business processes manager talk with implementation automation manager, and so developer automation manager ask business to I found the situation when some people spend 40 hours per month and they made some reports manually. So if we will make solution to automate it, we will save some expenses, and business manager probably without some detailed understanding of this process, said to him, yes, of course. And what we got? This company get that, yes, the manual work is reduced, but the workers just have more time to play solitaire on their computers, so no expense reduction for all company. So this activity was useless. Also, of course, company spent some resources to provide to pay for this work. So also a company spent some money for nothing. And this situation is very common too. But example is very simplified is the following. Imagine we have some company, it have only two workers, and their activity is to dig potatoes. So they dig in some kind of time, each of them like 3 potatoes, and totally they got 6 potatoes, let's say per month. And of course, they also have to, this work have to be paid, and they, each of them take 1 potato. But also they need to pass report. Usually, this is usually project manager ask because he want to understand how the project goes. Mm, will we uh, will we finish in this project in time? So he want to monitor this process, and one of the usual instrument is a report. And who will make this report? Okay, they hire one more worker, and it's made some reports, and of course this work should be paid. Uh, but report is difficult to make by hands from different sides. It's can take lots of time. It's difficult because you can make some mistakes because you make it by hand. So usually manual report, it's usually easy to automate, and it's very you can make lots of mistakes if you, and spend lots of time if you make it by hand. And one more guy, he offer automation of this report generation, and he ask for 2 potatoes, but you will spend it one time, and after that you will start to reduce your expenses. So you will pay more first time, but after that you will get a reduction of your expenses. Okay, usually this is situation is usual too that something uh, some troubles become happen, and it costs some little bit more than expected, but anyway. Anyway, the biggest problem that every fourth implementation, also if the company is big, if enterprise is huge, every fourth implementation is fails. And in my experience, it's looks like true because it's difficult to automate. When we automate, when we start to automate monitoring, uh, we understand that maybe this worker not just look some information on computer and make Excel report. Usually it's call to someone, or maybe it goes by legs to some places and ask some people, and also make lots of work which we have to understand, which we have to try to automate, and it can it can make some troubles which make um, which so our implementation will fail because of these problems. But okay, imagine that everything is fine and this story happens successfully. Uh, this is bad. So because this guy in this situation, he looks like a staying in company um, to support this system. So in the good situation, so this situation is not good because he getting free potatoes every time. But in good situation, he have to leave this automation part and go away. Yes. Uh, this is looks uh, kind of um, kind of unrealistic, kind of fantastic, because every system usually needs some updates, needs some support, and needs some workers, additional workers, which will support this automation system. But this is kind of different questions. So here's example of how it have to be. So what we have to think about during implementation to the reduce expenses on this system support, reduce expenses on this automation. Because we have to understand that previously the workers spend one potato, so it's not a good idea to spend three potatoes on the same work. And also we have to think about what we will do with workers which will have no work. So we have to make some uh, to think about different qualification of these workers uh, or another, or we will just say them goodbye. So we have to think about it before our automation system implementation. Yes, and this is uh, this is the end. So this is a successful end of this story. Uh, the next, let's talk about different different types of enterprise system. So here's example of so-called PLM, Product Lifecycle Management System. This is kind of one of enterprise system. The term of PLM was firstly made by Siemens company, so this is kind of these special cases when we have PLM system. And usually a company which uses this bunch of system, this is production companies. They have CRM, SCM, ERP systems, and here is the graph, which is a system the mostly used in the different stage of product life cycle. So product life cycle have these stages: research development, production, maintenance. And here is detailed description of which of the system is about. CRM is about customer relationship. So this system helps us to organize relationship with customers. We can save some contacts of customers. We can store some additional information like address, how much this customer uh, how much this customer bought of some products, how much he is order, in which state of order. So if we have lots of processes which which connected with some selling, with some work of customers, with agreements, we have to use this system. Of course, in the small company, we can use like a Word file and to write some information in it. But if we have hundreds and thousands of customers, business partners, which going to buy or are buying some products, we have to make some to use we have to use some instruments to automate this, not to forget something. Another system is supply chain management. When we when we when we make some production, or when we develop some product, usually one more time I will tell, this is about some physical product, not information. We usually use help of some suppliers, and also we have to organize work with them too. So what we want to get from suppliers, uh, also agreement with any suppliers, what they can offer to us, and all of this information is dynamically changing. So we have to work with it, and we have to store it in some places. And supply chain management, it will be this place. Enterprise resource planning, it's about our enterprise resources. This is like can be time of our workers, some materials on which we have, like how much we have metal parts, how much we have uh, kind of some kind of parts, some kind of products which we are used to make our product. And also uh, this system help us to plan how much we going to buy, how much we have to buy, how much money we're going to spend in the next period of time, and how much money we have spent it already. So all this information, if we have lots, of course, if we have lots of such kind of processes, we have to use this system too. And product lifecycle management here is on the bottom. Uh, this system, like aggregator of all this system, it's about mm, it's about the place where we will store some information from the first ideas, from the concepts. After that, we will store some descriptions, some documents about production, and in the same place we will store some information about some documents about support and about end of production, about retrospective documents, about some conclusions of our project. Uh, also, what I want to notice, usually some of existing products, existing information products, they have some instruments of each of this system. For example, we can have ADNS system, which is primarily ERP system, but it can be used for some CRM system and like SCM and some kinds of PLM, but very little. From other side also we have some PLM instruments, but sometimes it can be used like kind of parts of CRM or SCM. It's mostly depend of the difference of the business processes of our enterprise. So let's talk about the real examples of such software. Here is examples of CRM products. This is a list of CRM. This is just some examples of them, so you can find internet lots of more. And here is I have special side of open source kind of CRM system. This is not usual for such a product to be open source, but it exists and you can try it. For example, in the Bitnami, here is the link on the Bitnami site. You can go and to find some kind of this system. We will open it now. You can download, or I'm not sure, but maybe it have some demo versions, so you can, without installation, to try what this system looks like, what you can do in it, read some kind of documentation for best understanding what you need this for. But usually the system is for enterprises which work with some distribution, with sales, some products. So they not develop, not make their own products, but they work with sales. So they just buy something and sell something to another. Also have some logistic questions. So yes, it's finally opened. And here's the list. You can see it have some additional. So in my slide it have not too much. And here you can, like, let's try to see what you can do with this. Documentation, installers, run. One time ago it had the option to see how it looks like in your browser without installation, but now I cannot see this option. Okay. The following example is a ERP system. Some of them may be familiar for you. You can see, like, as I told before, some instruments can be used like CRM instruments and like ERP instruments. The same instrument can be used like this and like this. So it have some bunch of options. And here is like just names of companies, because they have not some single product, but they offer a bunch of solutions. So they have some kind of solutions, and for your needs, when you meet with this company and when you talk about your business process and which instruments they have, you make decision what you can buy from this company to automate your business process. And here is also, actually this is also the names of company. They have some kind of products, different products, uh, and you can buy some modules, some kind of their production to automate your process. Also ECM, Enterprise Content Management. This instrument was not described here because it's not it was not in this production example, and it's more about so-called digital documentation, digital work with digital documents, because lots of companies today have made their processes based on the paper documents, and these instruments can help them to implement and to change the on working with digital with digital documents. And here's some so-called PLM instruments, product lifecycle management. I don't know, maybe you're familiar with these companies, maybe not, but the South system have their PLM instruments. It's Innovia and 3D experience system. Autodesk, I'm not sure, but they have some kind of instruments. Ascon, it's a Russian company, and they have PLM instrument Lotsman. And Siemens, they have their product Teamcenter. Siemens Teamcenter. So PLM, it's about kind of enterprises which have some engineers and they work with some industrial products. They make some airplanes, cars, automotive, some electronic parts, some smartphones. So something which you some products which you can touch when some physical products. But of course, today lots of these products, such as airplanes and cars, automotive products, they have and physical parts and they have some software parts. And also usually this system work together, like implements it with different system. And this is another big problem when the company have some kind of instruments and your task is to implement to work is together. So these instruments have to transfer information between. So one more time, we have business process side and we have software expert side. And if we talk about enterprise system development, probably this is two main sides which have to solve lots of questions between each other. And what about user? If we have end user, he's just work with the result of this work. Is it successful or not? But usually user not able to make some differences in this. But sometimes when we talk user, we talk about the company owner, and in this case, of course, user able to change something between something in work of these two sides. And actually, when we talk about enterprise system, it will be more right to to place on this image enterprise owner, because without his agreement, without his participants, uh, this this work is not able to exist. And also I want to show you one kind of example. Example of business processes, enterprise business process, how significant it can be, and why it's difficult to divide it on the different parts of activities. So usually business process of enterprise is about all enterprise workers. So imagine like we work with automotive enterprise, which making cars, and the main business process of this company is to create cars and to sell them. So imagine we work with some kind of new product, and first step, product managers have to decide which features our new product going to have. And also the second step is like product managers, they defined some targets which our product have to meet, like how much it have to cost, which some technical technical options it going to have. The next step is system engineering. These engineers, the work is their work based on the goals of program management, and they create so-called technical requirements. Um, so what is technical requirements? This is the more refinement requirements to our products. So which is have to which options which is going to have, like will it have some kinds of self-driving options? Will it have some electronic options? Will it have radio or not? Will it have some braking system special or not? And if it will, how it have to work? So this is the very detailed description of these requirements. Of course, on the beginning of product, it can be more abstract, but before actual concept production, it have to be finished. Also, the next is engineers. When the requirements are ready, they have to create, or they have to find on the some suppliers some parts, some ready parts, which are ready to provide these requirements. Of course, they work together with program managers, with product managers, which can make some decision about engineers' results. After that, when engineers finished their work and the documentation about which parts we will use is ready, manufacturing, preparation to manufacture. Here is like robots, but if we will use humans, anyway, we have to describe how we will manufacture, which technologies we will use. We will use stamping for something, or welding, or we will buy some parts are finished and just install it. So all of these have to be decided uh, on this stage. Also, of course, we have to create some technical documentation. Usually it based on the technical requirements, of course, but when we finished with description of our product, we have to create some. Here's just manuals, but actually we can create some description of our product to show to journalists, to show some exhibitions, um, and they have to use these materials like advertisement before the selling of our products. And after that, customers have to get this our product. Also, of course, uh, it's not shown on this image, but customers can provide some information about what they like in our product, what they dislike. Uh, they can provide this information through some special services, like official services of our company, and we can use this information for future development of our next products. So we will collect this information, and probably it will be collected again on the product manager stage, and they will make again program manager will make decisions about, okay, what we have to change to meet these new requirements. Is it possible, or it's going to be very expensive and better to throw away, or maybe in the far future implement these requirements, and so on. And this cycle for every new update, for every new product have to be made. And uh, what is the difference? What one of the difference in this situation between when we have just only software product and when we have this complex software and hardware product is in software it's much more or less expensive to make some changes in software product. But when we have this complex, this situation, and when we find some mistake, but we also made some manufacturing planning and it's in the manufacturing, we cannot easily to change something. So sometimes you can read in news that some company, automotive, working to take their product back, return money, uh, just to fix something, and of course it's very expensive for company, but they uh, not spend so-called loyalty of their customers, so they not mm, so they not spend their authority, or how to say. Um, so and oh, here is a automotive example, but also today is very popular some kind of electronic products such as smartphones, some laptops. It's it's kind of uh, same situation in production of these um, products too. So this is kind of everything what I wanted to say you. So we talk about the main terms, the main problems of the software implementation. In the next sections, we say which topics we will. The following topics is about lifecycle models, and after that about UML description. So okay, for today, if you have some questions, you can type it in the chat room, or you can ask it through your starosta. And from my side, it's all for today. So thank you. If you have something, you can ask. If not, so I'm finished. And thank you for listening. See you on the next lections. Так, ну давайте расскажу про сдачу лабораторных работ. Лабораторные работы у вас будет проводить, как я уже сказал, Анастасия Меньшикова. Собственно, в среду вы у нее можете узнать точно про сдачу лабораторных работ. Насколько я знаю, там, не знаю, вот насчет, можно ли будет ей присылать на почту, либо нужно будет ей показывать все очно. Это, ну, как бы я делегировал это ей вопрос, то есть спрашивать у нее. Ну, вот ее контакт вот такой на страничке есть. Так. Ну, больше вроде вопросов нету. Так что всем спасибо еще раз. До свидания.